Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. We are up and going. Let me get this pulled up on my phone. Make sure we're all good. Oh, yeah, we already got the thumbs up. Thank you very much. Whoever's jumping in, give me that thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right. So we're going to be talking about the Utah real estate market here today. I'm going to be sharing some stats with you about what's going on in the market over the past couple of months. And we're also going to be answering questions. So if you guys have questions, just drop it in the comment box down below, and we'll be sure to answer those questions throughout the stream here. I'll be talking about different areas. I'll be talking about the state of the market, how to get offers accepted, if you want to go new construction, what that looks like. We're seeing a lot of stuff in the market right now, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about here tonight. So first off, on that note, one thing that I do got to say is that we are seeing in new construction particularly, this is kind of something that keeps coming up, and it's come up more often, and it's something I've got to talk about. You may or may not have heard that there is actually a nationwide shortage of a lot of things out there. Lumber is like 3 or 4 times the price that it normally is, and it's very difficult to get. Concrete is backed up. We're waiting, they're basically rationing concrete, and it's very difficult to get concrete. You can only get it, last I heard anyway, you can only get it 4 days out of the week. Other things like light fixtures, glass doors for showers, appliances, these are things that are being that are just massively delayed, and people are having a hard time getting a hold of them, especially the builders, right? So the builders are unable to get these materials, and unfortunately that is causing delays in the new construction process. If you're working with a builder that's been around for a while, hopefully they should have the crews, they should have the systems in place to be able to keep things moving forward. Every single builder is seeing delays. Homeowners are seeing delays. I mean, basically, if you're just trying to do anything, around your house right now, you're going to see that things are backed up. So that's just something you have to kind of prepare for, especially if you're going new construction. If they tell you it's going to be 6, 7, 8 months, they're probably lying. It's probably going to be closer to 9 to 12 months, unless they're already started in the process or they've already got allocations for a lot of these things. But in most cases, plan on somewhere between 9 and 12 months for new construction at this point, if you do get into something. There are builders that are coming out there with spec homes. A lot of builders have switched to spec homes where they're just going out, they're building the house, and they're choosing the options that are going into the house. And then basically when it's about 2 to 3 months out from being complete, they go ahead and will list it on the market and give it a price, and you kind of submit your offer just as if it was an existing home that you want to purchase. So a lot of builders are going that route where they're making that transition to the spec homes. So that could be something, if you've kind of been looking at the market and you're like, man, I want a new construction home, but I don't want to have to wait. That could be something that is a possibility. It's a little tough to say if that's going to be something that we can get you into right away, just because there are some variables with that. And a lot of times, I have a pretty good sense of the market, but I don't know everything out there. And so there might be a builder out there who has something coming available, let's say tomorrow, and we just have to wait and see for it to pop up on the market, and then we can make a move on it at that point. So with that being said, that's kind of where the new construction world is at. Let's jump into the market stats here. Let's talk a little bit about where the market's at today and what we're seeing with prices, what we're seeing with inventory, and all of that stuff. So as we do that, thank you guys for jumping in here. Give me a thumbs up here on the video if you'd like. It helps me out the YouTube algorithm to help me reach more people just like yourself. If you're thinking about moving here to Salt Lake City, Utah, reach out to me. My information is in the description down below. I prefer an email if you can, just to kind of start that initial conversation, just because I'm so busy throughout the day. Sometimes I can't always get back to you as quickly as I'd like. And so an email is great to kind of start that conversation. We can, exchange a little bit of information up front, and then schedule a time to actually talk. And last but not least, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. I release tons of videos about what it's like to live, work, eat, sleep, and play here along the Wasatch Front, everywhere from Ogden to Provo to Park City to Tooele. We talk about everything here on this channel, and we're also going to be doing more live streams like this. I think the live streams are a great way to connect with a lot of people and talk about the market, talk about what's going on right now live, and just kind of establish that connection, right? Obviously, you guys watch my videos, but those were pre-recorded, and doing this live, you get to kind of see me real in person right here. So we're going to be doing a ton more of these live streams in the future. I'm probably going to be bringing on some guests. We might even, try and transition some of this to like more of a podcast style setting. We may do some live videos. We may still do some recordings in that sense. But I've got a couple of great ideas. So subscribe to the channel. All right. enough of my rambling. Let's jump into some of the market stats. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen here. Let me see if I can do this. Share screen. Go ahead and share my screen over here. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in to make sure that we've got this nice and big. Okay, so let's talk about what we're seeing in the market. Well, the good thing that I want to point out first, if you have joined these live streams before, we talked about what these different boxes mean. This is basically all of the sales data for the past, it goes back about 2 years in this instance, but this is for Salt Lake County, Davis County, and Utah County, which are the three main counties comprising probably 70 to 80% of the total population of the entire state of Utah. So this is a very good representation of what's happening in the market and obviously where most people are going to be looking. Some people may be looking outside of that. So I get that, some of those numbers may be skewed, but this at least gives us an overall sense of where the market's at today. So the first thing I want to point out is that in April of 2020, this second box right here, 2,385, this is the total number of homes that sold during that month. So 2,385. Well, good news is that 2,821 homes sold in April of this year. So that is a very good sign to see that the inventory numbers are up from where they were last April. Now, if we go back to April, I need to just change this real quick. If we go back to April of 2019, you can see we had 2,949 listings that actually sold. So if you took April 2019, which is the last full year where we weren't in the pandemic, right? Because March, end of March or beginning of April is right when the pandemic hit and when everything started shutting down. So this here in April, between March and May, you can see the inventory goes up pretty significantly from 2,500 to 3,000 to 3,500. And then if we come down to 2020, you can see that it was at 2,500. It was doing good in March. March to March was roughly the same between those 2 years. And then it just fell off a cliff here in April before picking back up again in May. So 2,300, it was down quite a bit. To see 2,800 here in April, that's a very good sign. We're seeing inventory come up, which means that the supply is coming up to meet the demand. Now, the demand is still much higher, so you are still running into multiple offers, and we are still running into kind of this bidding situation that you have to be aware of. But across the board, it's good to see that additional inventory. I think some of that comes into play because we're seeing, there's a large portion of the population who was unable to move, maybe because they were at risk of COVID or something, or they just chose not to, or whatever. Everybody's kind of locked down, had their own reasons, but now they're saying, okay, things are kind of opening back up. Now's the time I need to make a move. So I think that's a big part of what's happening here over the last little bit. Now, this data here from May is not always 100% accurate because we're still in the month of May. So this data can be quite a bit skewed, unfortunately. But so we're going to be mostly focusing here on April of this year, last month. Now, as we come over here to the median OL $ and median sold $, this is basically where the homes were listed on average, right? Or the median price, a median original listing price, and then this is the median sold price. So you can see here that on average, or I keep saying on average, I know it's different than median, but the median price was $420, but ended up selling for $440, which is a roughly 5% premium on top of what the home is listed for. So if you're going in and you're offering on a house that's at $420, you could be offering $430, $435, $440 would probably be the most common, or you could even be offering up to $450. If it's a really nice house, if it's really desirable, if a lot of people want to live in that house, then you're going to be in a situation where you're offering that higher amount. So at least 5% is what I'm advising people is hey, if something's at 420, we need to be offering 440. Exactly. Right. If something's at 600, we're probably offering 630. We're probably offering 635, 640 if it's a really nice house. So those are kind of how the prices change. Same thing as it goes up. Once we get up to probably roughly 750, 800,000 or above, it does open up quite a bit. There's more inventory to choose from and there's less competition. So that does change just slightly there. Median square footage doesn't really change month to month. That stays pretty similar each month. Median price per square foot is up to just over $200 at this point. You can see that there's been some big, massive jumps over the last couple months. So median price per square foot is up. Bedrooms and bath has not changed, but median cumulative days on market, this very last column here, is still at 5 days, which is what it was for the last couple of months. So 5 days is crazy. I mean, honestly, the reason why it's 5 and not 1, for most houses is because you do have every once in a while you've got one of those houses that comes on the market and it's way overpriced, or it's just they don't change the listing status or whatever it may be, and it just kind of sits there and it says it might be 2 weeks before it goes under contract. Well, that kind of skews that median number. For most houses that are nice, they're in good condition, good location, all of that, they are going to be selling within, generally like 24 to 72 hours. So you've got, if it comes up tonight, really you've kind of got to look at the house tomorrow or possibly the following morning. And then by that second night, people are looking at offers. So really you've only got like 1 day to kind of look at it, maybe a day and a half. And then you're looking at offers on day 2 or day 3. So that's kind of the general, that's how these homes are generally selling at this point. So April of 2021, 5 days on market. If we go back and just look at this, in April of 2020, it was 9. And in April of 2019, it was 17. So you can see that the market is very hot right now and things are moving very quickly. So what I've been telling most people is like, look, this is a day-by-day process. If you are looking at houses on the market right now and you're not seeing something that fits what you're looking for, well, don't worry, because there's a good chance that the home that you want is going to come up tomorrow or the next day or this weekend or whatever. There's a very good likelihood that unless it came up yesterday, it's probably not going to be something that you're going to find and see on the market today. So just be patient with that and keep that in mind. I also want to just briefly mention, if you guys have questions, drop them in the comment section below. I'm going to be talking about the market here, and this is your best chance to answer to ask any questions that you may have before we, obviously jump off the stream here. But I also want to talk about interest rates, because interest rates had creeped back up. We were seeing higher interest rates, but now they've actually come back down, and they're, depending on your credit score, what type of loan you're getting, your down payment, all of those factors, you could potentially get under 3% if you get a really smoking deal, or you're going to be in the low 3% if you're just kind of like that. That's like the average, right? So 3% is really, really good. Obviously, there's worries about inflation throughout the economy and potentially interest rates going up to slow down that inflation. We don't know what's going to happen with that just yet, but currently interest rates are still very low, which is really driving the demand that we're seeing in the market right now, because people are able to afford more with that interest rate being lower than where it normally would be. If the interest rates go up 1%, you can almost account for a 10% drop in the market, right? There's not going to be a 10% drop in the Utah market. I'm not going to say that's going to happen. Even if interest rates went up to 4% by next week, we would still see very strong pricing. And, some people will probably fall out of the market, but that would actually help, because right now the demand is so much higher than where the supply is at. So that would actually kind of help level things out, and would actually provide a healthier market for everybody involved. Sellers would be less stressed because they have less showings. Buyers would be happier because they can get into a house without having to way overbid. And it's just in my opinion, would be a better situation for almost everybody out there. Let me just jump over here, see if we have any questions so far. Johnny is in support of the podcast. Yeah, man, we'll talk about that. That'd be awesome, huh? Lauren has a question. Any recommendations for getting a VA offer accepted in the current market? So VA offers are, they can be difficult. VA loans typically come with a bad rap, unfortunately. It's one of those things where with a VA loan, they sometimes have additional requirements for the appraisal, which is generally why these will be a little bit more difficult to get accepted. So it is possible. I'm not saying it's not going to happen or anything, but generally you just have to go in a little bit stronger and just say, hey, if the appraisal comes in and there's anything about termite inspections or safety items, as the buyer, I would recommend saying, hey, we're going to take care of those so that you don't have to worry about it, because the seller may be turned off by that. Oftentimes the seller doesn't even know about it. It's these other agents who have had a bad experience in the past with VA and unfortunately treat that in a bad light. So, the way I look at it is I'm like, hey, I actually kind of prefer VA just for the fact of like helping somebody who has served our country. I really appreciate that. So if somebody made a VA offer on my house, I probably would add a little bit more psychological weight to that. If there was 2 offers and they were kind of, equal, I might consider the VA one just because of that reason. That's just my own personal opinion. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but that's generally why you will see a slight disadvantage or kind of a tarnish on VA offers, is because sometimes they have additional requirements for the appraisal. Typically it's termite. We don't have a ton of termites here in Utah, so it's extremely rare. I've only seen termites probably We found termites one time, and then we found evidence of termites a second time, but the inspector said, hey, these termite, there's termite damage here, but it looks like it was from like 10, 15, 20 years ago. So not something that's currently an issue. The other time we did find termites and had to get it mediated, but that is, over, I don't know, probably 1,000 plus homes that that I've done inspections on, only found termites once. So it's not a huge issue. Mike, welcome to Utah. I hope you're loving your house. What do you think the impact of the water shortage will be on real estate and living in Salt Lake City? So that's a great question. Obviously, in this year we're going through a drought. A lot of the lakes and reservoirs are already down on water. Unfortunately, we didn't have the greatest winter. We didn't have a ton of snowfall or rain even throughout the spring, which is unfortunate. And so we're kind of in a spot where, as people continue to move into Salt Lake, as people continue to move into southern Utah, and as they continue to move into, places like Las Vegas or Phoenix, where, a lot of the water that's in Utah, a lot of the water that's in our mountains actually funnels down and serves Las Vegas. It serves California. It serves Phoenix. And so that's something that's kind of a concern, right? If we keep if we keep having these drought years where we're not getting enough water, then that's going to cause some issues. I think that there could potentially be a need for, I don't know, I'm not a water expert. I'm just kind of, thinking from my perspective, I guess. I think there could be some potential need for additional reservoirs to be made, man-made reservoirs, just to try and keep as much of that water as possible. And I think also the thing that I would like to see here in Utah is actually the use of more xeriscaping. Because here in Utah, for whatever reason, everybody loves their grass. And, don't get me wrong, I like grass too, but like grass in a front yard is pretty pretty useless. It's not really something you need. And so I don't know why grass is so common and everybody wants to put in grass. I think that the builders, I wish they would go for xeriscaping, because that would give us just enough of a savings in water that hopefully that can make an impact. I've read different articles about how much homeowners actually use when it comes to water. I've heard that farmers actually use like 80 or 90% of the total water in Utah. I don't know if that's correct. I could be wrong. Somebody fact check me on that. But I have heard that the farmers are actually the ones who use the most water, and homeowners have a very low impact. But at the end of the day, I think we all need to do our own part, and watering grass and trying to keep it green throughout the summer when it's 100 degrees outside, it just sounds kind of useless. If you want some in your backyard, by all means, get some in the backyard, play with the kids out there or the dog or whatever. I'm not saying we shouldn't just get rid of grass altogether, but I think we should really cut down on the use of grass, the use of sprinklers, and try to transition more to like xeriscaping, like they do have in Las Vegas, California, or Phoenix. I think those would all be great things. Another question here. Have I ever seen a log home on the market? Are there even any on the Wasatch Front? That's funny you asked, because I've actually got a family member, an extended family member, in-law, I guess you'd say, that actually does live in a log home in Salt Lake County. It was hand-built by them, so that was a very unique thing, but it does kind of just show, and it kind of gives me an idea that, yes, there are log homes out there. They're pretty rare. You're not going to find them very often. I would guess that there's probably less than 100 in the entire, Salt Lake County area, or even the Wasatch Front. Until you get up into the mountains, until you go to Park City or Heber or any area like that, you're probably not going to find very many log homes. And if you do, they're either going to be really, really nice and expensive, or they're going to be pretty run down and, might be a tear down, or might be like a total rebuild. Finding that log cabin could be a little bit difficult, at least in the city. If you go up into the mountains, yeah, it's going to be, much easier. Mike, I'm glad you're loving living here in Utah. And thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your move. Hey, if you guys have questions, drop a comment in the comment section below. Also, if you're moving to Utah, reach out to me. My information is in the description down below. Shoot me an email or give me a call or a text. Like I said, email is kind of preferred if possible. It's just easier for us to kind of connect that way, and then schedule a call where we can actually set aside, 20 or 30 minutes to actually talk in depth about your potential upcoming move. Also, make sure to give me a thumbs up here on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. We're going to be talking a lot about the Utah real estate market throughout the summer here. And if you guys have video ideas, drop them in the comment section below as well. I'm trying to Over the summer, I'm going to be going back and redoing some of the videos that are on the channel, just because the prices that I talk about or the areas are much different. A lot of those things have changed. The prices have changed. Also, plus my filming and my editing has just gotten a lot better. So I want to kind of go back and touch up some of those old videos that are not too great. So I'm going to be doing that over the summer, and also going to be continuing to do more vlogs throughout Salt Lake City and up north, down south, kind of in all of these different areas, to try and continue to just show you what it's like to live here and live in these different areas. I do need to update the pricing on a lot of these videos, so that is something that we'll be talking about as well. All right. So a question here: moving to South Jordan late summer, is buying or building in Daybreak a better option if we have the time to wait? So if you just joined in, I was just saying earlier in the video that if you're looking to build right now, if you go into a builder and say, hey, I want to build, and they've got a lot available and you're able to wrap something up, you're probably looking at about a 9 to 12 month build time. For most builders, they will try and tell you that it's probably going to be like 7 to 9 months, but it is going to be closer to 9 to 12 with the current delays that we're seeing in the market. So if you do have the time, for sure, go ahead and build. I think that building's a great option because you get to choose what you want in the house. You get to pick it out. You get to choose the lot, the floor plan, the quality, the upgrades that you want in it. And everything's going to be brand new. You're right. You're living in a house that's never been lived in. So there's you kind of have to associate a big value to that, because you get a house that's clean, it's yours, you're the first one to move into that place. So I think that's really good. The other thing that's really nice about new construction is you're able to lock in the pricing on that home today. And as the market continues to go up, by the time you theoretically move into that house, in 7 months, 9 months, 12 months, whenever that time is, your house could easily be worth quite a bit more. I mean, if we jump back over here to let's see how I share the screen. So if we come back over here, I mean, let's say that you started building in May of last year. Well, theoretically, your median price was $350. If you were moving in May of this year, theoretically, your price could be $450. That could be $100,000 worth of equity that you would have locked in just by starting the new construction process last year. So that's a big plus. The only caveat to building is that you could potentially come with the risk of interest rates going up. So if you're in a situation where, like, an increase in interest rates, if interest rates go up 0.5% or maybe even 3/4 or a full percent, is going to really affect you and your ability to make that payment, then just be careful about that. That's just something to consider. I'm not saying that you should totally walk away from it, but it is kind of the risk, because you're not going to lock in that interest rate until the house is finished. So in my own personal opinion, I think that yes, inflation has happened. Yes, inflation is going to happen. But at the same time, I think it's going to kind of level out as we go into the second half of the year. And as we go forward, that's kind of just my own personal opinion. I'm not an economist. I don't know everything, but that's kind of where I see things going. And in addition to that, I do see interest rates going up potentially to like 3.5%, maybe high 3%. But I would be very, very surprised to see them go over 4%. To be totally honest, I do think, I know I'm kind of rambling here, but I'm just kind of, spitting off some additional thoughts about this. I do think that interest rates going up could actually be potentially healthy for the market right now, because there's so much action in the market that prices just keep going up, and everybody's kind of wondering, like, hey, when is this, going to stop? And there's so many people that are looking to move that just can't find something, because every house seems to have 10, 15, 20 offers on it, and it's very easy to get outbid. So I think that interest rates going up would actually kind of help level that out, where you might be seeing a little bit you might see some of the people drop out of the market because they don't want to purchase with that higher interest rate, and that would actually open things up for other people to be able to go and purchase. And maybe they're only competing with 5 offers instead of 12. So that could be something that could help there. Yes, just some thoughts on interest rates. Lauren, your question about, are there many legal duplexes? Where are they mainly located? It is very difficult to find duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. Anything multifamily is very difficult. I've got a couple of duplexes and one triplex myself. And unfortunately, there's not a lot out there. Over the years, as I've looked at purchasing them, they are difficult to find. Most of them are going to be centralized around in downtown. or South Salt Lake or West Valley. There's quite a few out there. The only problem with those is oftentimes they're pretty old, and so they're kind of run down and oftentimes need a lot of work. So that's one of the downsides there. As you go south, you can find them in Midvale or Sandy. They are out there. There are, some that exist, but with the exception of like Midvale and Sandy, the only other place that I've seen them is in Harriman. There was a small subdivision where they actually built some duplexes and fourplexes that were brand new. They were, fairly pricey, but in a really nice area and modern floor plans, modern finishes, all of that stuff out there. So they do exist. There's just not many. Most of them are going to be downtown, South Salt Lake, Mill Creek, West Valley, and then a couple kind of as you go south through like Midvale, Murray, into Sandy. And then as you go west, like I said, I know there's that one in Harriman that's out there as well. So as far as Salt Lake County, that's where you're going to find most of those. If you do go to, let's say, Utah County, you can find them there. A lot of duplexes in Provo and Orem. It seems like they were more popular there, maybe because of the universities, but not a ton of them elsewhere. They are out there, but just not a lot of them. And if you go north, you can find them, you can find a ton of them in Roy, Clinton, Ogden, cities like that. So I hope that answers your question. Let me know if it does or does not, and I can provide some additional context. So what else should we talk about here? I think that, when it comes to the market and kind of what's happening with Utah in general, like where's Utah at? Well, Utah in regards to COVID, I mean, they still recommend wearing masks. A lot of restaurants or like city buildings, government buildings, stuff like that, they're still kind of recommending wearing masks. Grocery stores, same thing. A lot of these places have gone kind of independent and said, made their own rules. A lot of other places have kind of just opened up and said, if the owner or the employees or whatever say, hey, no mask, then you don't have to wear one. So with the exception of like that, I mean, Utah is completely open. All the national parks are open as far as I know. The state is very much back to normal. People are getting outside like never before. Golf courses are packed. Hiking routes are packed. I heard the mall was packed. I mean, just everything that's going on here in Utah, everything's kind of back to normal, and people want to get out and they want to shop and they want to do stuff. They want to see family. They want to go out to eat and get out to do these things. So that's kind of where the market's at with that and with COVID. And what else? What else should we talk about? Prices have gone up. Condos, townhomes are seeing the same pressure that single family homes are seeing. Like I said, if you're in that median price, which is right, for single family homes, is kind of like in that $400,000 to $500,000 range. It is difficult to find, find a house that's not going to have multiple offers. Basically, every single thing is going to have multiple offers, and you're going to be somewhere between that 5 and 6% above on the asking price. If you're going condos or townhomes, oftentimes we do see that the price goes up, but it also comes down to other things in the offer as well that you need to do to get your offer accepted. When it comes to things like that, going beyond just making a strong offer when it comes to the price, you also have the option to potentially waive some of the inspection contingencies or appraisal contingencies that come along with the contract and the offer that you make to the seller. So there could be a chance where, you can only push the price up so far. And beyond that, it really comes down to, are you willing to submit a higher deposit or potentially a deposit that's non-refundable? Maybe the deposit is non-refundable after the inspection. Maybe it's non-refundable right when the offer is accepted. There's a lot of different ways to kind of approach the offer. It really just depends on how aggressive you want to get. The way that the contract is written in Utah, and even in most states for that matter, is that the contract is really designed to protect the buyer, right? Because the seller already has the house, they own it, they're living there, and they know the condition of the house. But the contract is really designed to say, hey, buyer, you need to protect yourself. You need to make sure you do inspections. You need to make sure you can get the financing and appraisal and all this stuff, and have those protections before you purchase the house and move into it. So that's something that that's the way that the contract is written and designed, is to protect the buyer. So you can modify the contract to make it more more enticing to the seller by waiving those contingencies. Now, it does come with a little bit of risk, but that's something that that I've been navigating successfully with these offers is like, hey, as long as you kind of feel comfortable with your financing, with the appraisal, with your down payment, all of that stuff, we can 99% of the time go into it, waive those things, and submit a really good offer, especially if it's a house that you really, really want. You have to be aggressive with it. And, that's something that we've been navigating successfully over the past couple months, despite where the market's at. So we got a couple questions here. Lauren, thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Shane, do you think the market in Utah is too hot right now? Prices seem to be out of reach for first-time buyers and working class blue-collar individuals. Yeah, it's tough. I've talked about this before. I do think that the market has increased too much. The way that I look at it personally is like, it always comes back to supply and demand. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's the reality of it. If the supply is less than what the demand is, then prices are going to go up. If you go to, I'm sure other people have seen like those articles about like, yeah, buy this $1 house in Italy, like they're just begging people to come back. They're selling houses that have been abandoned for $1, like, because there's no demand for those houses. And so like, here in Utah, I look at it and say, okay, demand is so high that prices are going to go up. Now, at what point does that get unattainable? Well, unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know I don't know what the answer is. I'm just throwing out some suggestions off the top of my head, but I'm just thinking, maybe you need to get a smaller house. Maybe if you're in a position where you're like, man, 450 is just kind of out of reach, maybe start with a townhome, start with a condo, and just get in. I think that the thing that is apparent here is that if you own real estate, you will be in a position where, Utah is going to keep growing. It's going to keep growing. Now, there's no guarantee that prices won't, are going to go up. They're going to stay flat. They're going to crash, whatever. There's no guarantee of what's going to happen. But if you look out 10, 15, 20 years, there's a really dang good chance that home prices are going to be higher at that point than they are today. Even over the past, over the next couple of years, I think that there's a good chance that median price of 450 could be 500, right? And so if you can get into a house and you can get started, you can start building that equity, and then you can use that to roll it over into a new house. So that's what I always say is like, you've got to look at real estate as like getting in and making a financial decision to get into the market. And maybe that means, if something feels out of reach, maybe it means, kind of lowering your standards or just getting a house in a different area or, kind of making compromises somewhere. I think that's really important. I do think the market's hot. I do think that it's driven by interest rates being so low. And obviously with the pandemic, a lot of people are working remotely so they can live here. So a lot of people are moving into the state. And also a lot of people are not moving out of the state because there's job opportunities here in Utah. And so they don't have to, right? A lot of people go to school here and get out of college or whatever, or just work their way up. And there's opportunity here. So people are not leaving the state in that regard either. So yes, the market's hot. What stops it at this point? At what point does it become just way too far out of reach? I don't know, because I look at it and, I think that, again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if somebody can afford it, then if somebody's getting into that house, then they're going to do that, right? That doesn't mean that not everybody can make that happen, but if somebody can, then they're going to purchase that house. And if somebody can make a move up to a second house or a third house, they're going to make that move if they want to do that. So that's kind of the way I see the market going. Those are my thoughts on that, Shane, with where things are at. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll stick around here for another couple minutes, see if we have any more comments or questions come through. Like I said, if you have questions recommendations on any videos that you'd like to see, let me know. I would love to take some recommendations for videos to make about Salt Lake City, Provo, Park City, Ogden, any of those areas. I've also considered doing like property tours. I know that those are really popular on YouTube right now. I want to make sure it's specific on moving to Utah and what it's like to live here, what you need to know. So I don't want to get too deep into those property tours, but I do think it's something I could kind of supplement the channel with, and continue making videos with that. So if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, reach out to me if you're thinking about making that move here to Salt Lake City. Call me, text me, or email me, which is best. My information is in the description box below. Like I said, I'll stick around here. If you have questions, just drop it in the comment section down below. Let's see here. Johnny, question about videos with Randy. Yeah, man, I've been waiting for Randy to get on some of those videos. I know that he was busy moving. His wife got a new job, and he's had just kind of a whole lifestyle change. So I have not. I don't have any videos with him. I know that he's going to be working on some videos for Ogden. I'm hoping that those are coming soon. I don't necessarily have an update, but nevertheless, whether he does it or not, we will be getting out. We will be getting some videos like that out on the channel, just to kind of talk more about the northern counties, Davis County, Weber County, as well as those northern cities. So that will be something we're talking about more often. Shane, you're welcome. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in here tonight. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you have a question, drop it down below. If you have questions about the market or what it's like to live here or anything, honestly, just anything. If you have questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer whatever questions I can. Priscilla wants to see more videos on South Jordan. Interested in the new area going in. Are you referring to possibly Daybreak or just some of the new construction communities out there? Let me actually pull that up and let me come over here. I'm just going to pull this up here really quick on my screen and talk a little bit about South Jordan, because South Jordan is growing like crazy. And I think it'd be good, at least for you, Priscilla, maybe even some other people here to see what we have. So if I go like this, okay, so if we zoom out here, South Jordan sits right here. And South Jordan basically stretches everywhere from I-15, which is this main freeway here in the center of town. Let me zoom in just a little bit there. So I-15 right here, South Jordan is basically all of this area, and it stretches all the way out west over here to Daybreak. So Daybreak is a very community-focused area where houses are going to be on smaller lots. They're going to sit in a different, it's not going to be like just a general street. There's a lot of like alleyways there where all the houses kind of face one common area. That's really popular out there. So that's something you can find there. It's just kind of a different feel. It's really an area that you have to get out there and experience to see if you're going to like it or not. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. It's just personal opinion, right? So if we kind of zoom in here, you can see that the houses are very close together. They have kind of this alleyway here where you've got a rear load garage access, and then they have like these parks here in the front where it's kind of like a community backyard, if you will. So that's kind of the general layout of what you'd see in Daybreak. But you've also got houses going in here on the lake. These are pretty expensive, actually, but really, really cool. They kind of sit on this little island here, which is really neat. Zooming out a little bit, the area that maybe you were asking about, Priscilla, is all of this area. So everything here, this is all going to be developed at some point. A lot of this is going to be residential. There will be some commercial as well. There's already some warehouses and stuff out here. And there will be like, grocery stores, gas stations, banks, gyms, all that stuff. But a lot of this will be developed in the coming years. And a lot of this is going to be continued as Daybreak. And Daybreak will probably become its own city at some point. I would imagine that would happen. Also down here in Harriman, I believe it's this section right here, this massive section of land is actually in talks to be developed. I know that a lot of the residents here have been fighting against that just because they're worried about the congestion that would bring, but that is also in the talks to bring, I don't remember the exact number of units it is, but it's like, it was like over 1,000 housing units, condos, townhomes, single family homes. So there's a lot of development to happen there in Harriman as well. The other thing that I want to mention too, just because this is kind of something that popped in my head, they are planning to, so right now you've got Redwood Road that comes down here. Eventually they're going to continue this road here, which is Mountain View Corridor. And this is going to come down, and it's supposed to kind of come down this way and connect in right here. I believe it's going to connect in here. And this will kind of come over there and just loop in here going down into Utah County. So this will be a connection point there. And then this is also going to continue down into Saratoga Springs. I know a lot of people are interested in Saratoga Springs, one of my favorite cities here in Utah. They're also going to be adding in this road. You can already see the first step of this road here, where they're going to add an additional access road, because right now you've really only got Redwood Road, which is this main road right here that takes you in and out of Saratoga Springs. So it's kind of a headache if there's like a crash or there's traffic or anything like that. I mean, if you live in one of these houses and there's a wreck right here, you are not going to be going very far if you're trying to get north, because there's really no other way to get around. I mean, you'd have to like backtrack and go through this neighborhood basically to try and get around it. So kind of right now it's generally not too much of an issue on a day-to-day basis. It's fine, but that is something they're going to be doing. And then if we come up here, back here to Salt Lake, I'm going to jump over to this map view. They're going to be continuing Bangerter Highway, which is right here, all the way up through over to I-80. So this is going to be continue on this 4,000 West. And you can see here that they've already got a lot of that put in over here to I-80. And then they're also going to be doing the same thing with Mountain View Corridor. So right now, Mountain View Corridor ends on 41st South, but it is going to continue north. You can already see where they've got the land laid out for it, and it's going to connect in here with 201. And then I believe, so I believe it does go through, and it actually continues up here to California Avenue. And at some point, it will probably go forward and connect with I-80 up here. It doesn't look like it will. It might actually only just connect with 201, but 201 is a highway as well. So anyway, just some talk about transportation. It's really going to open up the north and south access ways for a lot of this area, and it's just going to help with traffic, so we don't have as many issues. All right, let's get back to some of the questions. Marina has a question about duplexes and triplexes selling at a premium or discount to single-family home valuations in Salt Lake, looking at average square foot price. I would argue that they're probably selling at a premium. If you're looking strictly at the square footage price, they're probably selling at a premium because they, are typically purchased by investors who are willing to pay a little bit more because the property is going to be rented. So if they're just breaking even or making a little bit each month, then they're generally okay with that. The other thing is that the duplexes, triplexes are generally a little bit on the smaller side. So you might have a duplex that's 1,000 square feet on each side. And so that'd be 2,000 square feet total, but a single family home could easily be 2,000. It might be 3,000 square feet. So you will see that there are, strictly speaking, price per square foot, duplexes and triplexes are selling at a premium. And the whole market is kind of crazy right now. I would say that duplexes and triplexes are probably more difficult to find, at least at a good valuation. It depends on how you're looking at it. If you're looking at it as an investment, it is difficult to find good investment properties right now. If you're looking at it just as strictly like, hey, maybe I'll buy a duplex and live in one side and rent the other, it is a little bit tougher. And you may or may not have luck with single family home. That'd be something we'd have to kind of discuss personally with that. Priscilla, yeah, so Daybreak, I hope that helped kind of what we talked about here. If we jump back over here to the map, I hope that was kind of helpful with what we're seeing in Daybreak. This whole area is just going to continue to grow. You can see how much land is out here just yet to be developed. It's going to happen over the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years. It's just going to continue growing out here. And so that's Daybreak there. Love the rejuvenation of downtown Ogden, the Ogden River, local breweries, cool town. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people, especially people from out of state, love Ogden. For me personally, I've been there. I think it's cool. Having grown up here, I don't think it's anything like super amazing. I do think they have some great breweries. I think that they're going through a big rejuvenation. Like you said, there's a lot of turnover there, and it's kind of getting to be a lot nicer. So it's definitely a great place to live. I don't mean to bring that down or anything, Shane, but I'm just saying, for me, it seems like, maybe I'm missing some of the appeal. That's what I'm trying to get at, is like, maybe I'm missing some of the appeal to the area, because when I look at Ogden, for me, I'm just kind of like, it's similar to Salt Lake or Provo or any of the other kind of, mid-sized cities here along the Wasatch Front. But Ogden does have a lot of diversity and a lot going for it. I do think, I know that it ranks as like one of the top 10 or top 25 cities in the United States or something, as far as like quality of life. So I know it always ranks really high. It's super close to the mountains, which is nice. There's a lot to offer with it. If you're working up there, or you've got a reason to be there, it's definitely not a bad place to be looking at. So there's also, just while we're on that note, looking up north, there's also a ton of growth happening here in Davis County as well. So Davis County is kind of down here, and then you've got Weber County, which is up here to the north. So if we go out west to, like, let's say just Syracuse, you can see all this farmland that is yet to be developed. So there's a ton of farmland out here that's going to be developed, and it just continues all the way up. As you go into Hooper, there's a ton of land here. And then as you go further north into, I guess this would be considered West Point, probably West Haven, you've got a ton of land there as well. Marina, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Johnny, do you still see a lot of people coming into the state? Is it slowing down now that everything is starting to slowly open up again? I'll be honest, man, I've been busier than ever. More people that are watching this video, just like yourself, have been reaching out to me. I've had more people reach out in the last 3 months than I did in the 3 months prior to that, and definitely more than we saw, last summer. So I'm not seeing things slow down. I'm busier than ever. So I'm still seeing a lot of people move to the state, because I think for a few reasons. One, because now people realize, hey, I can work remote, so I might as well live somewhere I want to live. I think that's going to continue to happen into the future. I think companies are realizing that people want that, and that people are looking for that type of lifestyle, and they're going to continue to offer it. And I also think that, some people are just kind of fed up with where they're at currently. Honestly, a lot of people moving from California are fed up with like the politics and the homelessness and just a lot of the issues that California has, and looking for something different and looking to get out and want to come to Utah, where, we've got opportunities and, just a different economic and cultural outlook, I guess would be the best way to put it. So, I still think there's a lot of people coming into the state. The state is still growing like crazy. There's still a ton happening, and I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. I think that it will continue to be that way for, going into the future, at least for the next couple of years. Okay, guys, any questions? Last chance, last call. If you have questions, drop them down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of the support that I get here on this channel. It always blows my mind that people reach out to me and they say, hey, Cody, I can't believe I'm actually talking to you. You're a real person. And I love what I do. I love helping people relocate here. And I'm pretty dang good at it, So I've helped a lot of people relocate from all across the world, even out of the country, and everybody's got a unique situation. So it's really cool to just hear the situation that everybody's in, and I truly am grateful for the trust that everybody puts in me. So I just want to throw that out there for anybody who may be watching. Last call. If you guys have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be ending the broadcast here in just a moment. If you have video suggestions, let me know. I'm going to be doing some videos on different cities, and also going back and redoing some of the videos that I've done previously, just to update the quality on them, update the prices, the square footage, sales price, all that stuff that I've talked about in previous videos. Because now I've been working on this YouTube channel for almost 2 years. I started in September, so I guess it's been about a year and 8 months or so. And it's been crazy. The market was in a lot different spot, a very different spot at that point, and things have changed quite a bit. So I need to go back and update some of those older videos. All right, guys. So I do not see any additional questions coming through. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to reach out to me if you're thinking about making that move here to Salt Lake City, Provo, Ogden, Park City, Tooele, anywhere in between. Let me know what I can do to help you. We will chat soon, and I'll catch you on the next live stream.